Can you hear? Idan, can you hear us?
Hello.
Okay. Can you hear us, Idan?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you have 15 minutes. I don't know if you will listen to my rattle, but I will let you know when you have 2 minutes left, okay? So, the next presentation is building artificial intelligence agents for co-creation and improvised stories. Thank you.
Okay. Hey everyone, good afternoon. I'm Kimron, and I'm here with my research partner Idan Vidra, along with our mentors, Professor Ariel Shamir and Dr. Lior Noy. And I'm really happy and excited to be part of this conference. And today we want to take you on a journey from the theater stage to the world of AI. We are going to explore what happens when artificial intelligence becomes your creative partner in improvisation. But before we dive into the research, let me show you something magical that happens on improv stages around the world. So let me read you this short improv scene, and I want you to notice something very specific happening here. Player one, start with, remember when we met flying whales last year? And player two respond, yeah, and one of them invited us to the carnival in Brazil. And player one answers, yeah, and then we danced samba on its back all the way there. As you can see, in just 3 lines, these two players created an entire fantasy world. Flying whales, carnival in Brazil, and dancing samba. None of this was planned. This is the magic of improvisation theater. So why this yes and rule works so powerfully? It has 2 parts. The yes, so instead of rejecting your partner's idea, you accept the reality completely. And this creates a psychological safety. Your partner feels heard and supported, which encourages them to take creative risks. And we have the end part. You don't just accept. You build upon their idea and move the story forward. And this is pushed into a creative territory that you might never explore alone, and could be just when it's co-creative. So yes, and we see that it transforms simple conversation into a creativity engine. By accepting and building on each other's idea, partners unlock story possibility neither could imagine alone, and creating spontaneous, surprising narratives that continuously involve in unexpected direction, as we will gonna see. So one participant in our study described the experience perfectly. She said like this: there was a moment when you start to go with the flow and speak freely, letting the imagination take over a bit. This describes what psychologists call flow state, the sweet spot where challenge and skills meet perfectly. And in improv, you are balancing. High challenge, you have to respond creatively in real time, which is, can be difficult. And you have a low barrier to entry. I mean, you don't need to be an expert to start playing. But here's what fascinated us. As scientists, we faced 3 fundamental challenges. Can we study this unique and example phenomenon? How do we measure what makes improvisation work? And is it possible to evaluate the quality of spontaneous co-creation? And we needed to find ways to quantify the unquantifiable, the magic of the real-time creative collaboration, which was a big challenge. So we wondered, what if we could take the essence of this collaborative creativity and study it in a controlled digital version. What if we could not even just study it, but also introduce AI as a creative partner? The stage, as we know, has body language, voice, and movement, and the digital world quite different. So we went through several different formats, video, audio, and finally we landed on text. It's simple, scalable, and lets us analyze interaction precisely. And all this gave us our model system that we can control the creative environment and make a data set of yes and games. And this is what we built. We built a digital version of improv games. It's a simple chat interface where two players take turns building a story together. And crucially, that the participants never knew if they were playing with human or with AI. And here you can see the yes and principle in action. I'll give you just a second. Okay, and here our AI in action with a human player. And you can notice the natural yes and flow, and it goes like this. The human start with, hey, wanna search monkeys on the moon? And the AI respond, sure, there is a tribe of moon monkeys with silver tails. And the human answer again, I heard that these monkeys are pretty rare. And the AI respond, definitely, they can only be seen during lunar eclipses. The human had no idea they were playing with an AI. And our AI partner was GPT-4, carefully engineered for improv. And here is a part of the system prompt that you can notice the key elements where we wrote clear yes and guidance and flexibility to handle any story direction and focus on both building on partner's idea while contributing original elements. And we refined this prompt iteratively with a user based on studying their actual experience during the games. And here is the scale of our experiment. It's a 141 human-human games, our baseline for natural human creativity. And also we have 86 human AI games. And we also asked 453 external raters who evaluated all the story without knowing which were human-human and which were human AI. And this gave us a robust data set, but how do you actually measure the quality of improvised story?
So let's talk about measuring the creative play. We have collected yes and stories, both from AI humans and human-human pairs. How do we know if the AI is actually doing well? Evaluating a co-creative improv story is complex. Co-created yes and stories composed usually between 10 and 20 sentences, and there are multifaceted objects that require careful evaluation. For this reason, we developed a few approaches in hopes of capturing the essence of the game. We used human ratings, computational metrics, and Turing test. We asked 453 participants to rate batches of yes and stories based on 5 criteria we developed with improv experts. We asked 5 simple questions. How creative is the text? How interesting is the text? How surprising is the text? How well does the text tell a story? And to what extent do the participants agree among themselves on the direction of the plot? The results showed that across the 5 criteria, stories co-created with AI were rated just as highly as those made by 2 humans. AI human stories received similar ratings to human-human stories across almost all criteria. Only they were a bit more interesting for the raters. Using agreement measures, we found that overall agreement between our raters was satisfying, especially for creativity and surprise. Beyond human ratings, we wanted to look for objective patterns in the text itself. We focused on 2 aspects of creativity, novelty and surprise. Novelty measures how much of a semantic jump each turn in the yes and game makes, meaning are new ideas being introduced. Surprise measures how contextually unexpected a turn is, meaning given the story so far, did the addition surprise us? These metrics help us quantify different aspects of the creative process quickly and in a scalable way. Let's look at each one. First, let's talk about novelty. Basically, what we measure is how different in meaning is one sentence from the one right before it. Novelty, in our case, is calculated by embedding each sentence in the yes and story using some language model. Then, for each sentence, we calculated the cosine distance between the sentence embedding and the previous sentence embedding. We calculated the novelty for each sentence and averaged over the entire game. This was calculated for each player over all the games, and calculating for each player allows us to separate humans and AI performance. So this plot shows us the scores of 3 groups of interest: humans in human-human games, humans in AI-human games, and lastly, AI in AI-human games. Each bar represents the scores we got when using one of the 4 models we used. The higher the value, the bigger the difference. As you can see in the plot, across several models, humans consistently made bigger jumps. The contributions scored higher novelty. The AI models tended to make shorter jumps and stay closer to the previous turn in the yes and game. Next, let's talk about surprise. This isn't about how different an idea is, but how unpredictable it is given the story so far. Surprise is calculated without embeddings, instead using language model probabilities directly. For each sentence, we feed all previous sentences as context to a language model. The model outputs the probability of the current sentence given the context. We take the negative logarithm of this probability, meaning higher values mean more unexpected sentences. The plot shows the average surprise of the 3 groups of interest. Humans in human are in blue, humans in AI humans are in orange, and lastly, AI in AI human games are in green. We used 3 different models for this experiment. As you can see in the plot, the AI contributions were consistently more surprising than human ones. Interestingly, humans playing with AI also were more surprising than humans playing with other humans. To assess whether raters can distinguish between human and AI human yes and stories, we conducted a survey involving 122 raters. We asked the raters to identify if stories were human or AI human. The results were that there was no significant difference between correct and incorrect responses for most stories. And for the few that were significant, they were significantly more incorrect. To understand better the raters' decision-making, we collected testimonials explaining their reasoning, which you can see here. So one of them was, the writing and the context are perfect, definitely written with AI. This was written about the human story, and AI wouldn't write the following sentence ever. Yes, and I never saw something like that in my life. And this was said about an AI line in an AI human story. So let's talk about what it means and what's next. So we showed our AI can play along in the yes and game. But the real question is, how can AI become a creative catalyst and not just a creative companion? In the future, we want to move from looking if they can match humans, than if they can enhance human creativity. The next projects will be working with improv experts to see how they can improve with AI, building systems to adapt to individual creative styles and learn to challenge players in a personal way, to expand beyond text and include movement, gestures, and other multimodal creativities, and to develop AI that doesn't just follow the yes and rule, but helps humans discover creative directions they might not have found on their own. This work opens a path toward understanding how AI can genuinely augment human creativity processes, not just participate in them. We're not just building better AI partners, we're exploring new ways humans and machines can create together. Thank you for playing along, and please let us know if you have any questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we will try to see if we can have a questions answer. Let's see. You can hear me, yes, guys? More or less.
We don't really hear you that well.
So how can we solve this?
Uh,
Better?
Maybe if I'll turn to the YouTube, it'll be better. Let me try.
You try to mix it up.
Well, let's try.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Okay, it doesn't really work because it's very delayed. Maybe if you can speak clearly to the microphone, we can try and hear you.
Okay, I'll try slowly. So thanks for your talk. I really liked the work. So my question is, have you considered synthesizing, because you started in the motivation talking about theater improvisation, and I wonder how this model that we build could be extended to an actual speech-based interaction. Like, I can imagine you synthesizing the generated text and actually improvising in an actual performance, and I guess that would generate maybe different results because you also have now the speech dimension, and I think that would change how the human perceive the generated response. So just some thoughts about that, if you have considered using in the future speech, actual speech as part of the system.
That's a great question. So the yes and game is an enclosed small world that we felt comfortable trying to work with, and definitely like bigger parts of speech and other kinds of co-creative work are definitely something we're very interested in. We think that because we started off small, we might be able to expand this from this where we have some control to maybe other kinds of speech and other kinds of interaction. And hopefully we're interested in co-creative endeavors in general, not just smaller yes and games.
Another question? No? Well, because it's not that simple, I think we can stop here. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate
Thank you
your
so
participation.
much for letting us join remotely.
Okay.